Welcome back. Providing a care for a loved one who is ill can be a very, very strenuous opportunity, job. It's easy to get burnt out when you're doing something like this. So with us today, we've got Stacy Metzger. She's the lead social worker at Hospice of the Red River Valley. Welcome here. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
So talk a little bit about this. I mean, I imagine this is something that doesn't get talked about enough, but is very, very prevalent.
You know, caregiving is a labor of love, you know, taking care of somebody who is seriously ill, you know, maybe at end of life. Even somebody who's had a traumatic experience can take a lot out of a person. And so, you know, at Hospice of the Red River Valley, we really, as a team, work to make sure we're not only caring for our patients, but for the caregivers as well, because, you know, we definitely know the impact that it has on the caregiver.
What are some signs of caregiver burnout?
Sure. So we look for somebody, so for instance, you know, on a normal visit, you know, I would assess the situation, you know, maybe last week when I was out to visit, you know, the caregiver was drinking a coffee, you know, kind of dressed for the day. And so eventually that burnout, that fatigue kind of wears on, and that person no longer is, you know, maybe a little bit disheveled, not having that morning cup of coffee, you know, not necessarily always taking very good care of themselves. And so we look for those signs of, you know, not caring for themselves, maybe not enjoying hobbies like they used to, you know, eating too little, eating too much, maybe, you know, getting into some substance abuse. And so we really look for different signs that that person may be going through that caregiver burnout.
One of the things you sent to us in the notes was compassionate burnout or compassion burnout. What is that?
So compassion fatigue is a special type of a burnout, and that is really when you're working with somebody who has experienced trauma or suffering, and you kind of take that on yourself, like those feelings. So not only like your caregivers in a family experience it, but your healthcare workers, maybe EMT, you know, if you're working a lot with trauma and you just kind of go through those motions of every day just kind of getting up and doing your thing. And so that compassion fatigue is just another special type of, you know, that caregiver burnout. And we really want to prevent people from getting to that point.
So let's say that you start to see some of those signs. What should a caregiver be doing? How do they start to mitigate that?
Sure. So one of the benefits that hospice has is a respite care. And so that would be either out of home, and so going out of home for 5 nights to a skilled nursing facility. And there they would become a resident of, you know, like the skilled nursing facility, and they would get the care there. It gives a chance for that caregiver to get a little bit of a break, to refresh their batteries. You know, it's often very important for a person to remain at home through end of life. And so by giving them this break, you know, they can try to do things, you know, get out, meet with friends, have lunch, go grocery shopping, just really taking that time for themselves. And so I think it's really important to note that Medicare recognizes this caregiver burnout, so they offer that respite piece with the hospice benefit, and so do most private insurances. And so there is a type of, you know, level of care for respite for our caregivers who want to take their loved one back home with them.
So do you need a certain definition to be a caregiver to qualify for that, or what are the qualifications?
No, just anybody who is taking care of a loved one. And the thing though is they do need to be at home, and then the plan for them would to remain back at home through end of life. But it's a 5-night, there's no charge. It's a level of care that is offered through the hospice Medicare benefit. And so we do a lot of encouraging families to take take advantage of that, because you can still go and visit them there, but you get to then take them back home with you and hopefully have those batteries, like I said, recharged and be able to continue on that journey. It's often a long process, and so it's so important, that self-care piece.
So is the five-day thing, is that like once a year, or is it an annual?
So we like to stick about maybe once a month, but we can offer it, you know, more often if needed. But it's just always there. So it's a level, when I talk about level of care, there's different level of care with hospice, and one of them, you know, just is like that respite piece of it. And so then they would get to go in and spend the 5 nights, and well, maybe caregiver wants to go off to a family wedding for a weekend, or they come down with an illness, and so they need to take a few days of just resting. It's really that it's there so that a person can use it if they need to.
That's nice. If people have got more questions for you, how do they get a hold of you?
So they can reach us at 1-800-237-4629, or at our website is www.hrv.org. We've got a lot of great resources there, and so perfect way to get more information on caregiver burnout and fatigue.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, stick around. We got much more coming up right after this.